And welcome to the 5-Star Dynasty Podcast, episode 105, Tampering Your Expectations. I am Tomcat. This is Piff. Good day.
Let's go.
Day.
Ready.
Let's go.
Get this.
So we had a little bit of a break. Family had family stuff. We had a vacation. Song wants to play again. Definitely don't have loop on, but the song was like, I wanted to play again. We took a little bit of a break. Sorry about that. And it was only about a week. And we're back. So I'm ready.
Wait.
I mean, it's been a good day so far. We record a little bit later in the day, so we are privileged enough where everything has just been happening all day and stuff might break during the show.
Yeah, I hope so, because this is good stuff. Got a lot of good big signings.
So, unrelated, not on a star, whatever, I'm going to say that the Jags have gone out and got 2 linemen, and I just want to take a victory lap on that because I said they're going to address the line. Other than that, that was selfish of me as a selfish plug of myself, but I'm going to do it. And we'll start off right off the bat with Saquon Barkley. This one's going to hurt, so I had to give myself a little bit of a positive. I'm obviously from New York, not New York City, but I'm in New York State. And it sucks. I understand the whole motivation. I understand he's from Pennsylvania. I understand he wants to be. He's probably an Eagles fan. It still sucks, and I'm not happy. But I think for fantasy football, it's going to be great.
Yes, I was going to say on the fantasy football end, that's what we're talking about. Maybe not from the heart, but from our brains. And that's
what was the deal? Because I wouldn't look at it because I was so pissed off about it.
So upset about it. Makes sense. 3 years, 37 and 37 million and 750,000.
Okay. Well, he got his money, and I will say that it was reported the Giants didn't even offer him anything at all. So
yeah, no, they didn't because they felt that they offered him plenty already. So he didn't accept the ones that they gave him before, so they weren't going to offer him anymore. He came back to the Giants, and the Giants were like, "No, we're not going to do that." So,
yeah,
it's been good.
So it is what it is. It sucks. It's going to be great for fantasy. There are going to be frustrating times, no matter what. When you're an Eagles running back, I don't care how good you are. There are going to be times where you feel like your running back should have gotten the touchdown, and Jalen Hurts is going to steal that touchdown. Until they outlaw the tush push, which I don't know if they ever will, and I'm not one of those people that's saying they should. I'm just saying until they do, you're not going to count on that because when they're in the goal line, you're like, it's 50-50. It might not be Saquon. Whereas in the past, when it was the Giants, it was like, Saquon's getting scary. So,
I feel like losing Kelsey's going to hurt that offensive line. Big.
Yep. I'm curious what they're going to do with the center. I was hoping they were going to get Mitch Morris, if I'm honest. Not as a football fan, even really a football fan, because not liking the Eagles, but.
Oh, Brian Burns to the Giants. Brian Burns to the Giants
got finalized.
Yep. I don't have the details yet, but it's on my TV.
Sorry about that, guys.
And he's going to sign a 5-year, $150 million contract.
He's very, very good. He's very, very good. I'm happy about that. But back to that's awesome. I love the breaking news.
Back to Saquon. Yeah.
Back to Saquon. It's going to be positive. He might even catch some passes. There are going to be times you're going to be frustrated because randomly Kenneth Gainwell is going to be in the game, and you're going to be like, "Why is this happening?"
I was just going to say that. Kenny was going to steal so many touchdowns from him. It's going to be terrible.
There's going to be a time when Boston Scott gets a 12-yard carry, and you're like, "Why is this happening?"
I hope he smashes though. I got him in a lot of places, so
I have him on a lot of dynasty, so I'm going to have to hope he does too. I was thinking he was going to do better in another situation, but that's only because Jalen Hurts always hurts every running back a little bit with that. That's 6 points. That's big. You know what I mean? I don't care how many.
Yeah.
It's hard to run. It's hard to make up for that, but he does catch it a lot. So hopefully Jalen Hurts recognizes that, and hopefully they're doing this because maybe they realize there's a chance there's going to be an outlaw of the tush push, and if it does happen, they need to have a good running back. No, I'm joking. No, in all seriousness, though, they need to have a good running back no matter what, because you can't rely on the tush push. Yes, you can do it. No, most teams aren't going to stuff it. Even if some teams start, it's not going to be like this thing where all the time people are stuffing it and they're like, they can't do it anymore. They figured it out. No.
I really think they're just going to stop doing it.
Just maybe to preserve Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to sign him to... I wish we were podcasting back when
Jalen You're going to sign Saquon Barkley. You're going to hand him the ball. You paid him. You're going to give him the ball, especially to keep Jalen Hurts healthy all season.
So back when Jalen Hurts got drafted, everybody was like canceling all my opinions, and they were just like, "Oh, you like Jalen Hurts, but Carson Wentz is there," and I just kept saying how like, dude, they don't like Wentz, like they really like this. I'm telling you, I watched this Hurts kid play, like he's really good, and yeah, I like that. So Saquon is just one of those guys who he's been hurt a lot, so it's like, yes, he's had years where he's just been sitting, but you got to look at a double-edged sword. Medical technology has advanced at such a degree where, yes, you got hurt, yes, you have an injury, yes, you got rebuilt and all that stuff, but it was also a year or two that you weren't getting tackled 100 times. It's not 100, but you know what I'm saying. I'm speaking hyperbole, obviously, yeah. But it's just one of those things. Actually, no, that's not hyperbole. He probably is getting tackled more than 100 times because if he's getting like 300 carries, 200 carries. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It sucks. You don't want a guy to go to a rival team when you like a certain team, but like, I'm also not an old school football fan where I can sit here and be like, "Oh, I'm pissed. I hate Saquon. Oh, I'll never forgive him." Like I got into football because of fantasy football, and that's never been a lie. I've never tried to fake fandom, and I've picked a team because of where I'm from and because of people around me. And unfortunately, it's never really paid off. But fantasy has always paid off for me. So I always like players above all. And I like Saquon, and I don't have a resentment against him. So it sucks, but he's a really nice guy. So it's like, he's not talking shit. Now he's a little, people are making him talk.
He was talking shit, wasn't he? Yeah, you would just tell me he was talking shit.
But it wasn't talking shit. I agree with what he said, though. This is what he said. All right. So Tiki Barber said something and said he was like dead to him or something. I didn't see the original tweet. Yeah. And then Saquon said, "At Tiki Barber, you've been a hater since I got to New York, ... And all that dead to me, in quotes, dead to me talk. Don't smile in my face when you see me." So
get serious.
It's getting serious.
But yeah, I mean, it's good. Good for Philly, good for Saquon. I think it's gonna be worth it. Saquon's gonna have maybe a top 10 season.
Oh, I think he has a top 10 season. I think if he went to a different team. No, I do. As long as he doesn't get hurt, he has a top 10 season. But I do think, because think about it, there's times where they were ahead and they would, in the past, remember those games where Hurts would just be doing really well, and then the second half they wouldn't do anything?
Saquon really hasn't been healthy, so I mean, they're kind of taking a chance on him too. But
I know, but he was healthy last year, so I just got to assume I don't like going with the injury prone because I've missed out on guys in fantasy too many times. So I'm trying to be better about that because in the past I have been exactly like you're being right now. But it bit me in the ass so many times with players that like had like 2 or 3 years of greatness, and I missed those years because I was so adamant that I was wrong. That was 1 year that I was like, "Fuck." It's just
been aggravating. That when you're in playoff mode, and then you lose like a top guy, and I just don't even want to have that.
I will say a couple of
me.
You're right, but a couple times you got to remember that one thing where when he like had the weird trip thing and then his ankle sprained, that was totally freak accident. That was so weird. But it's tough. It's tough. I said everything I had to say about Saquon, so we can move on to the next star if you want.
Yeah, I feel like Saquon's going to be a good deal there in Philly, and just that offensive line just scares me a little bit. But they did re-sign Landon Dickerson, so hopefully they keep it that way.
It's true. I'm about to say it for the second star. You want me to say it?
Okay. Yes, do it.
Steelers country, let's work. That's what he's gonna say. I thought of it on the spot. I didn't know what I was gonna say. It would just whatever was gonna come out. He's gonna do
the
Steelers. Like you said.
Russ to the Steelers for like $1.2 million, and the
What did he go
Broncos
for?
going to pay him $1.2 million. The Broncos have to pay him $37 million.
So that's so smart. So instead of just going to another team and being like, I expect you to pay me more, he was like, dude, I'll take the minimum because they're already paying me.
Yeah, and then it's supposedly him and Pickett are going to compete for the job. But I mean, I don't. I know it's like whatever, but I didn't see him signing there if he didn't think he was going to be able to start.
I will tell you what that is. That's smart by Mike Tomlin. This is exactly what this is. He is signing Russ to be the starter. But if Russ is washed, he doesn't want Pickett to be like, well, fuck you guys. You guys betrayed me and signed Russ. He's signing Russ and being like, hey, Pickett, I'm giving you a chance to compete. Prove you're better than Russell Wilson and you're our starting quarterback. And then on the other side, he's like, Russ, you're going to beat this kid. You got this. We signed you as a starter. You know what I mean? So no matter what, his bases are covered. He's the Emperor in Star Wars in Attack of the Clones. He's got the Trade Federation and he's got the Republic, and he's got both of them fighting the war.
Talking out
and
of
they
two
don't
sides
know.
of his mouth.
Yeah, they don't know. So it's just one of those things. I think if Russ is not washed, if this was truly just bad matchup on the Broncos for 2 years, having two different coaches, this and that, and he had good games in last year. He had some good games. So if he could do what he did with Sutton, because I will say he made Sutton relevant. I wish I sold Sutton. Everywhere I own Sutton, I wish that I sold him for how well he performed. There's a chance that Pickens and Deontay eat.
I've been hearing Deontay wants to be traded, or they're talking about
Really?
trading.
I didn't hear that.
I heard that on the Twitter streets. So
if that's true, Pickens becomes the easy wide receiver one of the team. Obviously, not wide receiver fantasy. Well, it's like, wide receiver one of the team.
It's like DK Lockett, Sutton, like a better Sutton, and Jerry Jeudy.
If he could just, I'm just saying, if he's not washed, the line protects him, and he could throw to those guys. There was games where people won money in DFS because George Pickens and Deontay had crazy good games with like Mason Rudolph. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just saying, like, Russ is at least, no matter what, this stage of his career is better than Mason Rudolph. I firmly believe that. I know people can make jokes. I know people can like say they don't like Russ or be like, oh, that's right, and all this stuff. But he's still better than Mason Rudolph.
Okay, but all right, say that. But if he doesn't become a starter, I don't see them keeping him either.
But that's my point. He is a starter because Mason Rudolph did better than Kenny Pickett.
Right, but what if Kenny comes back and he's all changed and different, and this Russ signing pushes him? This is just all, it could happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our first water bet. Let's do it.
I mean, you gotta have both sides.
Are you going Kenny Pickett? Because I'll go Russ.
No, I'm not going Kenny Pickett because I don't have that much faith in him. But I'm just saying,
I want to do our first water bet, ladies and gentlemen. Sooner or later, we will have a water bet.
You gotta look, yeah, and it's gonna be something I think I can win. Not something. I'm not putting a water bet on Kenny Pickett. But yeah, if you see me looking up, I'm trying to see if I can catch any breaking news up there.
He's last place in I forgot what the statistic is, but the amount of passes you have to have, and then like there was like all the statistics, and he's last place of all.
But what I'm saying is, if Kenny Pickett does get the starting job, because I got lost track because I looked up, that I'm going to say Russ is going to get cut. They're not going to keep him, and then he'll be on another team.
But my whole thing is, if they are running with Kenny Pickett, then it's a world that I don't want any Steelers. That's what I'm saying. That's a world I don't want Pickens. That's a world I don't want Deontay. And that's a world where I wish that I traded them before. Whereas if Russ is the starter, I will hold on to them, hope that he can elevate them, and then maybe even try to trade them. Because even though everybody's like, oh, the future, blah, blah, blah. If they can get, strike while the iron's hot, I can get some actual good stuff because people think that Russ is going to be there for a couple of years and he's really not going to be. I mean, I'm not saying to trade him fire sale. I'm just saying if people are offering you too much because they see George Pickens have a 3-game, 20+ game streak because he's on fire for 3 games, and somebody offers you firsts and young players, I'd probably take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If it's definitely an opportunity right now to sell the weapons that are there because of the perception that Russ is going to be the starter. So if you're not too high on Pickens, Freiermuth, or any of those guys, now's the time to move them before Russ is actually not the quarterback, or if Russ gets hurt, Pickett's the guy.
Russ is going to be the quarterback. Water bet me then.
You can't just be so dead set on that take right there. He got
then
booted.
You can't be against it if you're not going to water bet me.
Denver got rid of him, and they're still going to pay him money just to get him the fuck out of there.
Denver had Hackett.
They're paying him to leave and play somewhere else. That's how bad he was.
This is the truth. Last year,
he started
heating up. No, hear me out. He started heating up, and then they benched him so they wouldn't have to pay him more money if he got injured, just in case he got injured and a bunch of other stuff and incentives, because they knew he was heating up and he was looking good, and they wouldn't have it. No, dude, it's not. He's
looks good on
paper.
Not washed, it looks good on paper, but it's shit.
But he's so much better than Kenny Pickett. I'm so low on Kenny Pickett. I think you're just higher on Kenny Pickett, and then that's the difference.
I'm not high on Kenny Pickett at all.
And I think
I'm not at all.
Can you hear me out?
I'm just
I think you think I'm higher on Russ.
Side of the card. I'm not high on Russ either.
No, I think you think I'm higher on Russ, and I'm really just lower on Kenny Pickett. Does that make sense?
A little, yeah. But I mean, they both suck. So I'm not.
I still think Russ is going to be one of the bottom quarterbacks. I still don't want to play him in fantasy. I'm just saying he could elevate some of these other guys. He could still be bad.
I don't know how much they're going to throw the ball anyway because they're going to have Arthur Smith. So it's going to be the Jaylen Warren fucking show. Number 2 running back show.
I don't think the offensive coordinator really calls that much anymore after Matt Canada. I think they brought in Arthur Smith. He's going to get a little short leash, and if it doesn't work out, Mike Tomlin calls the plays.
I don't think so. Mike Tomlin would have started calling the plays well before. He ain't calling no plays offensively.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, that would bring us to our next with the Arthur Smith connection. Nice wrapping right there. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take your Arthur Smith and I'm gonna wrap it into star number 3, which is Kirk Cousins shocking everybody and going to the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow.
It's crazy.
It's just everybody goes up. If you wanted to sell Kyle Pitts, if you wanted to sell Drake London, now's the time. I wouldn't sell Bijan, but those 2 guys, I would think about moving. You might be able to get more than you could get originally.
I would sell Bijan. Hear me out. I would sell Bijan for a lateral plus. Now, what I mean by that is I know people that think Breece Hall is good, but they think Bijan's that much better, or vice versa. So if it's something like that,
like Bijan,
where you could get like a second and that player, and you don't think you made that much different of a move, you think they're going to be around the same rankings, then just a stack up value.
Somewhat a perceptional tier down.
I've seen Hitman do that before. I've seen Hitman and I've seen Giants fan do that, where they made moves where they took a running back that was around the same level of the running back they were giving away, but they got draft picks in return as well. And then they ended up drafting other players and you get more dart throws. Yes, you end up cutting some of those guys, but you get more dart throws. You get more lottery picks. So I've started to kind of notice them doing that. I'm just like, I used to do that back in the day. And now I've been so busy with real life that I haven't had the time to negotiate trades. And I think I'm really about to hop back in. I know Hitman's a little upset with me right now because I have not been paying attention to our free Dynasty leagues, which I apologize, guys. I will be soon. I've just been doing a lot of stuff in real life that's been really taking a lot of time. And I mean to check the app and then I just get anxious about shit and don't check it because I'm just like, man, That's so much work right now. There's so many leagues, and like so many leagues share players that if I just do one, other people are gonna know, and then they're gonna start talking and be like, "Well, we did this league," so I feel like I have to do them all at one time. It's insane. Arnold Palmer, baby.
Oh shit! Right off the jug.
I mean, I buy it for myself, so I can just drink it out of the jug.
I mean, but if Cousins can come back from that Achilles injury, that offensive line's good enough, that defense is good enough, they could probably make some noise in the South. The South's not too strong.
I think if Kirk comes back healthy, it's a battle between him and Baker, obviously. But I think Kirk wins the South. Now, that being said, I do think there is a time to strike when people are going to overpay for Pitts finally. People are going to, not finally, but like once again, they might pay a little bit more than you would have gotten certainly a couple of weeks ago or months ago. But I mean, like, also there's a chance that they just, some people love Kyle Pitts. You just don't, I don't know your league. I don't personally know your league, so I don't know how your people feel. So go check it out. Drake London now is somebody who you might be able to pitch to certain people as a wide receiver one. As, oh, look what he did to Jefferson. Oh, he's going to elevate him. Now, I want to also caution you guys. Now, what was the deal for Kirk again?
It was big.
It was big. I mean, they're not just
4
like
years,
throwing
180 million.
Well, what was it? I'm sorry, I talked to you by accident.
4 years, 180 million.
Okay, so they paid him big starter money. Now, I'm sure there's outs in the contract, but that right there is confidence that, like, whether he comes back right away or not, he's their guy. They're like, Kirk Cousins is whatever. You heard the coach say, Raheem Morris, you heard him say, if they had a better quarterback last year, I wouldn't be up here. He straight up said that. That was the most real thing somebody could have said. And there is a world where you are going to trade Drake, like I just told you to, and he is going to explode, and you are going to be very mad. I personally am not going to be trading Drake because I didn't buy into the hype the last couple of years, and I have barely any shares of him. So I'm holding on to the very few, like 3% of my league share that I even have him. So I'm just holding on to him for the ride. But I do think there's a chance if you own him in a lot, you can get a lot for him. Sorry, that was a little bit of a rant.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I just, as soon as I seen Kirk go to Atlanta, I just like, oh man, I'm going to try and sell some of these shares. Because I got a lot of London. Drake, I do. I have a lot of Drake London. So
I'll buy a little bit of it.
Definitely trying to move some, and
I'll buy
Pitts,
one.
I'm trying to hold on to because I feel like Pitts supposedly was this generational talent, and I'm not ready to ditch it yet because he's a freak athletically.
He also came into the league super young.
Yeah.
So he's still
like
young.
Still 23 or something. He's like 23 years old still.
Yes.
He's younger than most of these rookies coming in.
Look how many tight ends don't even come into prominence until 25, 26 that are way less athletic than him. And he's way more.
They usually take 3 years to, it's very rare that you get a Sam Laporta. And now all these tight ends coming out of college are like popping off. And that usually doesn't happen.
I think we're in a new age where everybody is so athletic and like there's so many freaks now that we are slowly transitioning to a period that's the future for all time where we are going to have eventually, mark my words, on this day, all 32 NFL teams will eventually have star level tight ends. We will get to the point where there's so many freak athletes that every single team uses a tight end like that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Will all of them be Kelsey level? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying every team will have like a tight end who gets 5 to 6 receptions a game, where it's just normal. We're like, oh yeah, that guy's just really fast. He's a giant wide receiver.
Most likely a freak athlete, Yeah, exactly. And like a 6'6" guy that runs like a 4.5.
Especially as the cap goes up.
4.4.
Yeah, especially as the cap goes up. Because as the cap goes up, there's more athletic people that are going to gravitate more to football because there's already people that gravitate to football because they want money. But then there's people who will go to other sports because there's way more money in those other sports. Like the NBA, there's freak athletes that if they were to you've heard people say it a million times. There are freak athletes in the NBA that if they had actually played like a tight end or something, they could catch a lot of passes. And if we get to the point where there's a guy who's 6'9", but he can run, like a 4.5.
Yeah, like kind of like basketball is like Wembanyama. That kid's got all kinds of handling skills, but he's like 7 foot.
Dude, get a guy like that. Don't even use him the entire field, and then when you get to like the red zone, you put him in the red zone. He just goes up and just reaches up, and you just throw it to him.
Yep. Thank you.
Crazy. Oh my God! I just got breaking news from Giants fan. Which shout out to Giants fan. It's actually his birthday today. Happy birthday, Giants fan!
Happy birthday, Giants fan!
It sucks that I want you to realize this though. The Eagles signed Saquon Barkley on his birthday, and the Packers signed Xavier McKinney on his birthday. So he lost two of his like players that he liked on the Giants that were good players, got signed to other teams on his birthday, and that just sucks. I hate that for him because he's such a great guy.
Oh, that was
but yeah, he just gave me a shout out and gave me a little bit of breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Well, the NFC East got another running back, Austin Eckler to the Commanders.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's breaking news. I just found out 2 seconds ago. I actually just texted him and told him thank you, and that he broke news on the pod. He'll be excited about that on his birthday.
He did.
But, yeah. So, to finish up on Cousins really quick before we move on, I think that Cousins is the potential if he comes back this year, and if he really is already throwing and walking and stuff, which allegedly he is, then I think there's a chance that Atlanta just takes the South, and you're going to be happy that you held on to those Falcon guys.
You want to get the numbers on the deal? I got them. You want them? 2 years, $11.43 million.
Okay, gives them a little bit of money, and the Commanders got somebody for kind of cheap. I'm pissed off because that means the Giants could have probably gotten him.
Yeah, but you got Singletary. Everybody hates Singletary. He's a good running back. Solid. All right. We're on Kirk Cousins.
I actually have a bunch of buddies texting me about stuff just because they like talking to me about stuff, and they're accidentally breaking news on the podcast, so it's kind of cool.
But yeah. I mean, it's whatever. Eckler's dead. Eckler's done. I don't see him doing much damage. But they need a running back.
Giants fan's so nice. He goes, really? Damn, my bad. He thought he did something bad. I was like, no, dude, that's awesome. We shouted you out. Like, thank you. You broke news on the podcast. Like, that's awesome.
Yep, 2 years worth up to 11.43. So it's not even, fully 11.43. It's probably with incentives. But he's also going to be playing. He's going to be playing with Brian Robinson too. So
yeah, well, he'll probably play third down.
Yeah, he'll probably be like Gibson because Gibson signed in New England. So
yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about all that in a second. You got anything else to say about Kirk? We'll move on.
No, I just think it's a plus for all the weapons there.
I think it's a plus for all the weapons, and I think it's a chance to sell high. But I'm not telling you to sell high. That's what I'm trying to preference. I'm trying to say if you're sick of holding what you're holding, or you're on a rebuild team, and they're like your only good assets, and you like already have a bunch of picks, and you could just use some more picks, then just see what you can get. But don't just get rid of them. I'm personally not selling because I've been holding on the small shares that I have. Yeah. We'll move on to one of our 4-star. We're just gonna talk about running backs. We actually flew through the first 3, so we have a full pretty much 30 minutes left. So that's perfect. We got the running backs are all going to be in their own star, and then everybody else we'll just talk about at the end. So obviously we just talked about Eckler because it was the breaking news. Let's talk about the fact that we got Aaron Jones cut and Josh Jacobs signed. to the Packers. Yep. I think that's huge because that is a young team who did very well last year. Now they're adding a running back who could do even better. I know Aaron Jones exploded at moments, but Jacobs is that much better, and I think it's a crazy good fit for that team.
And I don't think A.J. Dillon's sticking around either. I don't know.
Are you sure they kept him?
He's a free agent. He's right on the list.
Oh, they did?
A.J. Dillon's a free agent, and they cut Aaron Jones, so it's just Josh Jacobs.
For some reason, I'm wrong. For some reason, I thought AJ had one more year. I'm totally wrong. Man, the years fly. Free agent. I really like Jacobs to the Packers. I feel really good. I have a lot of Jacobs shares, and I feel really good about it. I'm happy. I'm very, very, very happy about this.
Packers is a very good landing spot. I mean, they just
cut my buddy Shane. He's a Packers fan. He's really happy about that. They got Xavier McKinney on defense. I'm mad about that. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about Jacobs?
Yeah. Their offensive line got weaker because they cut Bakhtiari.
Yes.
So I don't, if they depends on what they do in the draft and all this.
I think they draft one the first.
They're gonna do with the rest of free agency because obviously it ain't over yet. There's still plenty of guys out there. But
I think they draft a lineman in the first. It'll be a first, but it'll be like a mid-late. How do you feel about
100 million guaranteed on Cousins' contract to it? 180 million, 4 years, 100 guaranteed.
100 guaranteed, so you can earn up to another 80. That's still that's 100 million when he already has like life-changing money already is just crazy.
Oh yeah, dude, he is one being a free agent. He's probably made the most money ever as a quarterback. All that money he made,
free agent, just getting paid now, over and over and over and over and over,
fully guaranteed money.
Yes. My next one would be Tony Pollard going to the Titans. I think I personally will be looking to sell all my Tony Pollard shares if I can. I'm not taking low for them. I'm not just giving them away. But if there's somebody who's like, oh, sick, Tony Pollard's got his own team, then I'm seeing what I can get for him because I personally had him as mostly just a handcuff to Zeke in a bunch of leagues. And then he became a starter and I was happy. And I was like, oh, cool. I never drafted new Tony Pollard ever. I happen to be lucky and have a ton of it because I have so much, I have so much Zeke that I naturally just drafted Pollard or I traded for him or I picked him up when he got dropped or etc. And then he became something. And now I'm just like, I don't think he's going to be much. They got rid of Vrabel. Vrabel wasn't the problem. And they got, they're not going to have anything. I don't know who's playing at quarterback. I don't know if they're going to give Will Levis. I don't know if they're going to have Malik Willis and Will Levis. I don't know if they're just going to say fuck it and draft another quarterback 3 years in a row.
Malik Willis is dead, so you can just cross his name off the list. But it's going to be Will Levis, I think. I think they're going to run with him for a year because they know that they're far away. And they're just going to kind of like
see what they got
through the year. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and trade Hopkins too. So,
well, I'm worried about that would be cool. What I'm worried about is they got Will Levis, and I'm worried they're going to do the whole thing where they're like, they don't have the faith in him. And instead of giving him faith and giving him a chance to compete, they like do that stupid thing where the coach is like, oh, he's got to compete. And then they just tell Malik Willis he has a chance, even though we know he has no chance. Kind of like when Baker was going to Tampa Bay and they were making it seem like him and Kyle Trask was going to be this like competition. We know for a fact that Baker's way better than Kyle Trask. Like, stop. You're giving all the people who drafted Kyle Trask in the 4th or 5th round of a rookie draft or off the free agency, you're going to give them hope that they actually have a gem and they don't.
But I mean, the Tony Pollard to the Titans, he ain't getting a full workload.
No.
He's going to split.
But do they draft somebody or do they sign somebody else?
No, they got Tajay Spears.
That's what I was going to say.
They're just going to split time. I mean, who knows? They could take somebody, but if they just signed Pollard, I don't think that's their what they're looking to do.
Yeah,
doesn't seem logical.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of testing you. I was seeing if you forgot all about Tajay because I know you liked him before. So I was just like, "Oh, did you already forget about your boy?"
Yeah, Yeah, no, I didn't forget about Tajay.
I didn't forget about my boy. Yeah, no, it's a good signing. I like it. I don't think it's a better in real life signing than it is a fantasy signing. But I don't think it's the right move because I just think the Titans, like you said, they have a ways away. I think getting rid of Vrabel was dumb.
Yeah, that really didn't make any sense. I guess he was just kind of brash, and nobody really felt like they could speak their mind around him, so they kind of had to get rid of him. At least that's what I read.
That's fair. Well, unfortunately, after that tenure, he had a good thing, but he had to make a swift exit. Bringing us to the next running back we're going to talk about, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
signing with the Bears. I like that. He's a starter now. As long as he can stay healthy, he's the clear starter. I don't want to hear Roshan talk. I don't want to.
You're going to hear Roshan talk. It's going to be a committee. It's going to be a committee. Because Swift can't stay healthy. So, I mean, they're going to have to find a way to keep him healthy.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. If you want to talk about him being handcuffed, we could talk about him and Khalil Herbert being handcuffs. And
I don't know if Herbert's going to last. I don't know if Herbert's going to last. He might get cut.
Yeah, because they'll probably need to cut him because they need their third running back usually has to be a special team guy. It's definitely one of those things where Swift can't stay healthy, but if he does stay healthy, he's clearly gonna keep the job and have the majority of the carries. So I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing for the Bears. I want to see what happens with Fields too. That's very intriguing.
I was about to say, I'm gonna refresh this as we end this week. We're gonna have a solid 23 minutes or so worth of this next star to talk about all the other players. So we're doing better, guys. We budgeted on time. We know it's not everybody. Like I personally can listen to podcasts that are like 3 hours long because I have a job and I have time off right now, but I have a job. Even when I have a job, that I just put headphones in and listen to all day. So I love content. Not everybody has that. So we're trying to keep it closer to an hour so you guys can just listen to it and get your content here or there. So we're doing better. We're doing better, baby.
We're getting there.
So by quarterback, we'll talk about obviously Baker Mayfield got a 3-year, $100 million. So good for him. He got a team who appreciated him. He got a team he performed on. He fit the scheme.
Skipped up three. You skipped 3 running backs.
Oh, I thought we were just going to lump everybody in, and I was going to go position by position.
All right, let's do that then.
Yeah, no. My mistake. I thought we were doing those 3 running backs get their own star, and then we were moving on to the 5th one.
You're right.
Everybody
I fucked that
else.
up. You're right. You're right.
You didn't fuck anything up. You're fine. You're fine. You were just making sure we didn't miss content. You're doing a good job. 3-year, $100 million though. I'm really happy for him. I'm not sure of the details of the contract, but either way, they appreciate
3 years, $100 million, 50 guaranteed.
Okay, so either way, I mean, this is my honest opinion. If you get $50 million on top of what you already got, let's not even count the other money he already got. If you get $50 million and you can't make that last the rest of your life, you were a fucking irresponsible asshole because that is so much money. That being said, good for him. Really happy for him. I kind of have always been. I've never been I was never the Baker guy who coming out of college. I was never the guy who was like, he's the guy. Because when Baker and him came out, I grabbed shares of him and Lamar, but I was more of a Lamar guy. Now, that being said, once people started disrespecting Baker and I saw him fighting through injuries and trying, and I watched the guy actually play, and I wasn't just the people watching the box score and going, ha, 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 or watching the highlights, and I saw the guy actually playing through injuries, I was like, you know what, dude? If this guy had the right opportunity and the right, system, he could actually be really good. And then he had a couple flashes on other teams, and then he made it to the Buccaneers. I bet on him last year and got laughed at. Was told by multiple people that we really like that are probably listening to this podcast that I should just drop Baker because he's gonna lose the job to Kyle Trask and he's gonna be out of the NFL. And no, so good. That's my little shout out to those people who said that. Baker is there to stay. Mike Evans is there to stay, and there's a good chance Godwin's gone.
So. I know we touched on Minshew, but I like that. to the
No, we
Vegas
touched on Mincho
for
off
years,
camera.
25 minutes.
That was off camera.
Oh, we did? Okay. That was off camera?
No, everything we're about to talk
Right.
about is off. Well, we talked about off camera. Don't. Yeah, no. No, we'll talk about the next one was Gardner Minshew.
I feel like the Gardner Minshew signing, that's just a precursor to them drafting a rookie at quarterback, whether it's in the first, late, early, wherever their pick is in the second, they're going to take a QB. That's what this tells me.
And who did you mention that I agreed with? You can say it.
Michael Penix. Trade
so if they take Penix,
the back end of the first to take Penix.
If they take Penix, there's a really good chance that Gardner plays for a year or most of a year, and then is just let's be honest. I said this to Pip before the podcast. I think Gardner Minshew right now, every couple years, there's always going to be this. Sometimes it's year to year, but a lot of times it's a multi-year little mini reign, and he's gone. There's always this little mini reign where they're the best backup in the NFL. And I think Gardner Minshew is that right now. Gardner Minshew is the best backup that the NFL has. So paying him, was it a 2-year, $25 million? I'm sure not all of it's guaranteed, but he'll get a good chunk. I think it's great. I think there's a really good chance he plays this year. If you're holding on to him, if he was somebody you just had, somebody that you see on waivers and you really need a desperate quarterback, or it's a super flex league and you think you can pay super, like last year I saw people paying like 4th and 5th round picks for Gardner Minshew, and he ended up being a starter for most of the year. So, those are dart throws anyways. Obviously, some people like to make the dart throws because you never know when you're going to grab that random guy, but not everybody's rookie draft goes that deep, but all of ours that go 5 rounds because we just like the drafting process and we like the you get a little extra ammo. Some people like to go the dart throws because there was plenty of other times where you take that dart throw and you're going to enjoy it, but it's one of those things. If somebody wants to offer you a 4th or 5th round pick in a super flex league for like Gardner Minshew, I would take it because you never know if he's going to actually start for a good amount of time. But yeah, I was just talking about Gardner a little bit, and I was talking about
I heard you. I had to run. I had to run quick to take care of something.
Okay, cool.
But yes, no, Gardner Minshew is the man. I think he's going to just at least rock out for the whole season. Maybe at least 9 games.
Yep,
because they're going to want to nurse that guy in there.
I have notable quarterbacks that haven't been signed yet. Brissett, Winston, Tyrod Taylor, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Tyler Huntley, Josh Dobbs, and Mason Rudolph. That's who they consider the notable quarterbacks that haven't signed yet. Because obviously some of those guys are going to be backups. A lot of it I'm not a huge super flex guy, but I do play a lot of super flex, if that makes any sense to anybody. I like it. I just don't like when people lead a crusade and try to tell me I have to turn every single league into a super flex.
Every league needs to be super flex. Step in to the times, Tomcat. It's 2024.
Well, especially in an already existing league. There's nothing more annoying than the guy who owns too many good quarterbacks. There's nothing more annoying than the guy who already in a 1 quarterback league drafted too many quarterbacks, and now 2 years into a dynasty, 3 years into a dynasty, he demands that it becomes a super flex or he's going to leave. And it's like, it's not our fault that you grabbed 3 quarterbacks in the first 10 rounds. That's not our fault.
No, but also, like, if he wants to play super flex, just bounce, dude. Like, you don't have to be here.
There's so many super flex leagues out there.
That's right. You don't need to be here. Get another one.
So we'll talk about running backs. We obviously talked about Saquon. We talked about Josh Jacobs. That was a 4-year deal. Devin Singletary to the Giants, 3-year, 16.5, averages to 5.5, and there's a couple outs in the contract. They did grab one of the best linemen, but it's just one of those things. I know you like Singletary a lot. I have a decent amount of shares of him still, so I'm glad he has a job, but I'm not excited that the New York Giants are going to rely on Singletary. I'm hoping they're going to draft a running back as well.
Well, I'm assuming they will too, because if you have Singletary, you're definitely planning on running a platoon, he ain't going to be the bell cow.
No, you're gonna do one. You're gonna 1-2 with him, and he's. I mean, I think Singletary's a good player, and the actual scheme of NFL and what your team needs, and being a committee back and like giving you yards. I think he's a good running back.
Yeah,
It's just not the
Buffalo, he
pop
was
you want
good.
when you just lost Saquon Barkley.
Here he's good. Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not what you want to follow up losing Saquon Barkley with. Definitely not.
You just had a generational talent that half of his career he's been injured, and you finally got to use him, and then your quarterback you just paid gets hurt. So you know what I mean? It's just like it sucks. There's two more that are notable because AJ Dillon, Zach Moss, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are all free agents still, and J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins, Derrick Henry.
And Derrick Henry, obviously. Oh yeah, you're right. And the King. They're all free agents. But we'll talk about Gus Edwards, 2-year, 6.5, nice and cheap for the Chargers. And the Chargers get a big bruising back. And I'm actually excited. I know he's been hurt a lot, but I'm excited to see what a big bruising Gus Edwards can do in Harbaugh's system.
I mean, I feel like this is more of a depth signing. I think they're going to draft somebody too.
Probably. No, probably, but it's
the
just
end of the running back position.
What I mean is,
he's definitely
a bruising
great
back
depth
who gets
piece.
touchdowns. I'm sorry, I talked over. What you say?
Definitely a good goal line guy. Definitely a good goal line guy. You're right there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's one of those things where like because we're a dynasty show. A lot of times we have to focus on the players that aren't always like, like the fantasy footballers would call them the nasty boys, like the guys you don't really like to admit that are on your roster. They're a little deeper. They're chilling in your taxi, not Gus, but chilling in your taxi, and you're not proud of them. But he's somebody who you hold on to because they draft a rookie probably. But if the rookie isn't working out right away, or if the rookie gets hurt, now you have the starting running back in Harbaugh's system. So that's cool. I'm just trying to give a little bit of glimmer of hope to the Gus Edwards owners out there because I actually saw a couple leagues where people dropped him because they thought he wasn't going to go anywhere. And the second he got signed, their excuse was, "Oh, I thought he was done with the NFL." And it was like, well, you might want to wait longer than 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. But hey, do you want to say the last one for running back? Because it's your team.
Oh, yeah, baby. Antonio Gibson. 3 years, $11.25 million. I love it.
So, I mean,
I love it.
It's a nice little chunk of change.
They've been needing a third down back since James White left. So this, I'm happy with.
I mean, it's perfect. It was originally a wide receiver who converted in college to a running back. We all know that, and he's just somebody who should be used as a third down back. Yes, he can carry, but he shouldn't be used as a bruiser 100% of the time. Does he have the ability sometimes to make some plays where you're like, oh wow, he just made a really good run when they needed him to because he had fresh legs? Of course, but should he be used like that for 17 rushes in a row? No. So throw him some passes.
He just seems like a perfect complement to Ramondre Stevenson.
Yes, that's what I thought. So yes, I think it's perfect. I like it. And we got 11 minutes left. So if you want to, we'll fire through wide receiver.
We'll blast through these wide receivers and tight end real quick. I mean,
let's go tight end first because we can blast through tight end faster, and we don't want to end on tight end because there's not really much news. So let's strategically do it. Dalton Schultz got the money he deserved. We had talked about, I'm pretty sure in an earlier episode about how it sucked. I said it sucked for Dalton Schultz and how I felt bad for him because he gambled on himself after the Cowboys offered him like a 2-year, 30-something million or something like that, or maybe it was a 3-year. And he got a very similar deal from the Texans. So he did end up, it took him an extra year and he got little, but they recognized him. There was times they used him as a blocker when I'm sure he wanted the catch, and they appreciated that, and they gave him a contract.
Called it.
What's up?
Wax. I called that. It's on wax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. And then your boys re-signed Hunter Henry to a 3-year, $27 million. So that's cool. Whoever you think your quarterback's going to be there. I don't know if you think it's going to be Mac or who you think it's going to be.
It's going to be Max. Got traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, he's not.
He got traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 6th-round pick.
Wait, he did for real?
Yeah, for real, yesterday.
I didn't even hear that. Jeez, I've been so busy the last day and a half. I missed so much news.
Yep. Yesterday he signed. He got traded for a 6th-round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Going to back up T-Law.
Wait, so Mac Jones just became a backup quarterback?
Yep.
Damn. Okay. Well,
for the number 1 pick in his draft. But no, I'm honestly hoping they try and get Fields. If Fields is actually for sale. If not,
go for Fields?
I don't really give a fuck. If they don't get Fields, it's gonna be a lost season, no win games. It's just gonna be bad. It's just gonna be like running it back and getting.
Yeah, but they're low pick. Can't they just draft one?
Yeah, but is that gonna be quarterback gonna be good right away? Like I'm not too high on this class.
Yeah, but if you draft, I get what you're saying. That's fair. Well, let's fire.
I mean, are you really want to take? Okay, yeah, all right. Sorry.
Good. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I was gonna say Kobe Parkinson is a whatever to the Rams for 3
years. That's a
big
deal.
If he starts catching passes and he becomes something, cool. But I'm not looking at that like at my job.
That's a big contract. 3 years, $22.5 million. It's a big contract.
You're right. What do they see in him? Do they? I mean, that does make you kind of think that they see him as a starter.
Yeah, or at least like a somewhat of an offensive thing. Well,
yeah,
what did Josh Oliver get? And he didn't do shit. He got a big contract last.
He got a big contract and didn't do shit. I don't know the numbers. And then Charlie Warner for the Falcons got a 3-year, $12 million. That's definitely a blocking tight end salary.
That was he came from San Fran.
Yeah, and then Jonnu going to the Dolphins, 2-year, $10 million. I like that because that's an athletic tight end that can catch balls from Tua, and I really like that for him. Will Jonnu be something? Maybe, maybe not. But if you're a Tua owner, but if you're a Tua owner, are you happy that he has another competent guy he can throw the ball around to? Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything else on tight ends, we can move on in this last whatever minutes to the wide receivers.
Tight ends is kind of weak. I don't see anybody of worth. Tight ends suck.
Me either. We'll start low on the wide receivers. We'll go the Jacksonville Jaguars grab Duvernay for 2 years. So that's just a depth. They're expected, quote unquote, to sign Calvin Ridley. And then now they paid 2-year, $8 million for Devin. So that's almost like a contingency plan. Like, hey, we got to grab a couple bodies, but at the same time, we're trying to get Ridley back. So I'm curious how that's going to work out.
They're not going to take Ridley back.
I thought they weren't going to, but then there was the reports they were going to.
They're not going
to. New England re-signed Kendrick Bourne. 3-year, 19.5. So good for him. Get a little bit more cash, and he just reestablishes himself as one of the top wide receivers there because there's not really much there.
Yes, no. He's a great 2. I just wish we could get number 1 there.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis to Jacksonville, 3 years, $39 million.
And that was I was gonna say. This is the nail in the coffin why they're not gonna sign him. I didn't want to give a spoiler. Sorry. Yeah. 3-year, $39 million. He gets a lot of money. Shane Gillis will be pumped because Shane Gillis, the comedian's actually like met and is friends with Gabe. But he got paid the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think there's a really good chance you're going to see a lot of the same that you saw in Buffalo. You're going to see some games where he catches a couple bombs from Trevor Lawrence, has a good game, maybe a touchdown or 2, and makes you think that he's the thing now, and he's not going to be because the next week Christian Kirk's going to go 7 for 78 and a touchdown. So it's just my only advice is if he blows up and you have him, don't be afraid to trade him. Now, if he blows up and you trade him and then he actually becomes a consistent thing, don't be mad at yourself either because you've been burned so many times that you didn't know the fire was going to go out this time because you're so burned from the last time that you didn't know. So don't blame yourself then either. So that just is what it is. I like the signing though, but I'm weary. I'm never going to draft new Gabe Davis stocks, but I already own plenty. So I'm just going to chill with what they are. I'm not going to play him weekly. I'm going to wait to see what he does.
But there's still quite a few wide receivers out there, too.
Yeah. But I definitely think
Marquise Brown, Calvin Ridley, Darnell Mooney, Odell, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel.
But but
Michael
I think
Thomas.
it eliminates 100%. But I think it eliminates, like you said, the Jacksonville Jaguars from taking Ridley or even most of those other guys you just named because they're gonna pay. They just paid Gabe. They paid Duvernay a little tiny bit, and they already are paying Kirk. And they already who else do they have? Kirk. What else do they have?
Zay Jones.
What's that?
Zay Jones.
Zay. That's I don't know why I couldn't think of him. Yeah, they already have Zay, and they already have a pretty solid team. So it's like one of those things where they signed 2 wide receivers already. There's no point of them grabbing Ridley at that point. Obviously, the Mike Evans re-signed 2-year, $41 million, got a big chunk of change. Now they re-signed Baker. He's reunited with Baker. I think it's sky high on Mike Evans, and I also think if you want to sell high on Mike Evans way later in his career than you ever thought he could, that you thought you could rather, this is the time his stock is at an all-time high because if I have him, there's a good chance I'm riding him until he retires. But also, there's a chance somebody's going to see what he did last year and see that these guys both just got signed and see that Godwin's probably going to get cut. Maybe even try to trade him right around the time Godwin gets cut, and somebody's going to overpay for him. So, I know I keep coming with you at that angle, but guys, if you're listening, I'm not saying you need to trade every single guy. I'm saying you need to see what they're worth because there are people in your league who will get excited about news and then they want to trade more than the guy's worth. They'll trade you a player that's pretty much the same value or a little bit lower but young and has a potential and a bunch of picks for one guy. You never know. And I never, ever thought I'd be able to tell people they could capitalize and make off a trade on Mike Evans at this age of his career. And it's the truth.
You really got to play the news to your favor in Dynasty. Like if something breaks, somebody gets signed, you really got to jump on it then because you might lose your window. You never know when that window is going to close. You got to maximize your war chest when you can.
Yes.
You know, like even
perfectly
like a tear down, get another a pick on top or something like that. Anything.
Yeah.
Just to
even like
let's say, for instance, I'm trying to move Marvin Mims right now. I just for like a high second. I'm not like asking for the moon, but Marvin Mims for a high second when he's probably going to be the wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1 in that offense.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's very important. Now we have 2 more and we have about 2 minutes or maybe a little bit less. Well, I mean, we can go a couple minutes. We can go a minute or 2 over, but Michael Pittman signing a 3-year, $70 million is huge. The Colts have their wide receiver 1. They already had him, but now they have him long term because we said Dynasty long term is 3 years, and he signed a 3-year deal. This is perfect. He's not going to get cut.
Window for him.
3rd year of his deal. No. He's too young.
I can't wait for the fireworks for him and Anthony Richardson.
Yes, I agree. And if anything, after the 3 years, in the 3rd year, he's not going to get cut. They're going to be talking to him about trying to extend him. Or they're going to do the whole.
They're going to want to lower the number. Thing. Yeah, they're going to want to lower that number because it's usually higher in the end.
Yeah,
they try and keep it low during the beginning of the contract so they can sign more players, and then towards the end, it's when they can restructure it and make it less. And
absolutely,
that's what the Cowboys are going to have to do with a lot of players because they got like no money in cap space, so they're going to be making all. They're always in trouble later.
They're always in trouble with cap space and cutting people and doing everything. T. Higgins getting franchise tagged and then demanding a trade. We're going to spoiler alert that right now. That is going to be a star on another episode coming up soon. We have to figure that out because that's something that's going to be a big deal. We'll talk about his landings. We'll hear maybe in the next couple of days what his opinions are on where places he likes, but that's definitely something we'll keep an eye on. I want to mention that he was franchise tagged, but I don't think we have enough time to really dive into it because of how important of a fantasy asset he is when he's healthy.
Word is he's pretty upset because once they franchise tagged him, they haven't come back with him with any long-term contract talks. We can end it on that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I was under the impression he was told, "Yeah, we're going to franchise tag you, but we are talking about deals with you," and then they just haven't talked about a deal. And
they haven't talked to him, so now we demanded a trade. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, that finishes up our free agency. You have to tamper your expectations at all times. Until then, I mean, things are starting to heat up. We'll get to the point where we're doing 2 a week at this point. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Always like, comment, share, and subscribe.
And comment anything. I don't care what it is. You could talk shit to us. It don't bother me one bit.
I like when people disagree because I like debating. I'll never be like, "Oh, that's bullcrap. I don't like you. I don't like what you're saying."
Getting
like
blocked.
how many times in the episodes have you had an opinion and I came into the episode with an opinion and you said something and I was like, you know what? That makes sense. I think the key is to always adapt and really realize that nobody knows everything about this game, and you're going to hear other point of views and you're going to be like, I didn't think about it like that, and then you're going to adapt your own opinion. Yes, it's important to stand on your own beliefs, but there's times where I would stay away from injury prone players and I missed out on years of like good players prime where I own no shares of them because I was so scared the first year or two that I saw, and then they had 4 years in a row of being good. So always adapt.
Yeah, I've been playing since Julio's was a rookie, so I sucked for a long time. And you change a game. You listen, you learn, you watch other people how they play. You see, it's a lot of psychology. It's weird.
I love that you mentioned Julio because Julio was my first ever fantasy pick. I did not watch football, and then I watched the Super Bowl, but I didn't watch football religiously. I was a UFC guy, and that's all I watched. And then on 2 days' notice, my buddy Tony was just like, "Oh, hey, me and this person were, buddies, and we were gonna do this fantasy football." And now he's not answering if he's gonna be in the league. Like, I need somebody. Do you want to be in this league? And I like the show, The League, and I was like, "Oh, I'll try it out." And I just got obsessed. So I won. Unfortunately, I didn't have a long period of sucking and getting better because I had Kamara Bless. Now, in my second year of fantasy, Kamara Bless.
My first pick was Matt Forte.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've been playing so much longer.
Matt Forte, yes. Monty Ball was a top draft pick in one.
Well, when I started, Matt Forte was in his like last or second to last year.
He was so awesome for fantasy.
Yeah. That's what I heard. So, all right. Well, until next time, guys. I am Tomcat. This is Piff. And always play Dynasty. It's the best.